Hey everyone, it's been a little while since I've done a tutorial on this channel, mainly because I got distracted by a video over on my documentary channel. It's on a nice interesting topic which I'm sure won't cause any controversy, Israel and Palestine. If you want to watch that, I'll link to it down below, but the good news is that in the making of it I came across this really useful technique which I want to share with you today. In order to do this you're going to need After Effects, Illustrator and the GeoLayers plugin. But if you don't have GeoLayers, you would be able to do this without it as well. So first of all, we're going to put together a composition, which is going to show you the pixelation issue that I've encountered. So we're going to go over to After Effects, and within GeoLayers, we're going to create a new map comp. Now for this example, I'm going to zoom in on Israel and Palestine in the Middle East. So here we have the West Bank within Palestine. Now if you've been map animating for any period of time, something which you've likely done before is to get some geodata from an image and pin this to the map so that we can then animate on top of it. So I'm going to go over to Google and I'm going to find Bank of Control. This image which shows the different areas of control between the Palestinian Authority and Israel within the West Bank. Now for anyone who doesn't know, the West Bank is divided up into 3 areas with varying levels of control between the Palestinian Authority and Israel. You've got Area C, which is under entirely Israeli control, and then areas A and B, which are under various levels of control between the Palestinian Authority and Israel. This is known outside of Israel as occupied land, really occupied land, and really, really occupied land. So we're going to go ahead and download this. And then once we've got that downloaded, we're going to drop it into After Effects. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a color key effect to this. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow us just to remove this white background here. I'm just going to bump up the color tolerance until it's taken the edges off there. Next is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to align it up to the map below. So I find the best way to do this is to find a prominent corner like that point up there. We're then going to press Y to get the anchor point tool and we're going to move it up and align it with that position there. There we go. Now once we've done that, we're going to basically take it over here, line it up. You can lower the opacity down to make that a bit easier. Line it up with the map, and then what we're going to do is we're going to basically use the scale and the rotate tool in order to line this up perfectly with the map comp. Now if this isn't lining up perfectly for you, what you can do is you can use this puppet pin tool in order to stretch it into the right shape. But for me, other than this discrepancy around Jerusalem, it seems to fit pretty good, so I'm going to leave it as is. Next, we're going to make this 3D and we're going to parent link it to the map comp anchor. This is going to make sure that it moves with the map anytime we tilt the map within the GeoLayers panel up here. So the next thing we're going to do is I find these colors here don't really represent the national colors very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go online and we're going to find the hex code of the green within the Palestinian flag. There's this really good website for it here that has all the hex codes. So we're just going to click on that there. Then we're going to do this change to color effect. We're going to take the eyedropper tool and we're going to get that grey blue from there. And then we're going to paste in that green hex code. I'm going to put the saturation up to 100. And then we're going to do a second change to color. We're going to select the orange color there. And we're going to go back and find the Israel blue hex code. Again, same website, click, and we'll paste that in there. And now we have some nice colors. Then I'm just going to apply a blend mode so that we can see some of the geography beneath it. So I'm going to use the multiply mode there. I'm just going to very quickly mask off the key as well, turn that to a subtract mask because we don't want to be looking at that. So here we have a great example of some geodata pinned to our map. So as you can see, we can rotate the map, fly around, pretty much do whatever we want, and it's going to stay put to the map there. But we have a problem. If we zoom in really close, you'll see that this starts to break down and we get the pixelization because the image wasn't high enough resolution. So what are we going to do about this? So first, quickly, it's worth explaining the difference between a raster image and a vector image. A raster image is something that you would normally do in Photoshop and would be a photograph of a person. and is made up of distinct pixel values. But this means that as you zoom closer into the image, it starts to break down and you lose that detail. A vector image, however, is something that you'd normally make in Illustrator and is normally used for logos. With this, the whole image is saved as basically mathematically determined lines and shapes, and this means that you can either blow this up or zoom in as close as you want infinitely. This is how this guy makes these very cool infinite zoom animations. So basically, we want a way to turn our pixelated raster image here into an infinitely zoomable vector image. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go and find our original image that we dragged on, and we're going to open this up in Illustrator. So here we have it within Illustrator. Now, as you can see, it is still very much a pixelated raster image. So in order to turn this into a vector image, we're going to select it. We're going to come up to Window and select Image Trace. Now you can just select 16 colors because we're going to determine the number of colors in a moment. So next we want to count the number of colors within this image. So in this case there's 5. You've got the 3 main colors there, you've got grey around Jerusalem and white in the background. So we're going to set that to 5. Now if you want each of these layers broken down so you can manipulate them individually, you can hit auto grouping and then expand. But I'm just going to leave this as is because I have no need to do that for my purposes. Now, as you can see, we now have a nice vector image that we can zoom into forever without ever losing any detail. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go File, Save As, and save this as the areas of control. Click OK. Now, I'm going to come back over into After Effects, and within the Project panel, I'm going to basically take in this new Illustrator image that I have. Going to drop it in there. Then is what we're going to do, in order just to swap this out while retaining all of that same pin data and positioning that we did for the other image, we're just going to click on this. I'm going to hold Alt and drag it on top, and there, it swaps out immediately. And then the last thing that we want to do is we just want to hit this continuously rasterize button. And there you go. We now have this vector image on the map that we can manipulate in the same way we were with the other image, and we can also zoom into infinitely without losing any detail as we wanted to. If you want to watch my documentary, I'll link to this down below, and I'm also selling my map animations, so if you want to discuss that with me, then there's a Google form down in the description. Thanks.